Hey everyone, it's Amanda. Today's lyric page we are going to use God Bless the USA from Lee Greenwood. It is one of my favorite patriotic songs, and since we're not too terribly far off of 4th of July, I decided to go ahead and give that one a try. I have already prepped my page with gesso, and I'm going to use some of the Tim Holtz Distress Paints dabbers. My plan is to basically make my page look somewhat similar to the American flag, even though it's probably not going to be perfect. And then using my baby wipes, I'm going to make my spots here. The blue is Salty Ocean, and then I'm going to use Barn Door for the red. And no, it's not going to have the right amount of stripes. Alright, so that's my basics for the background. I'm going to hit this with the heat gun real quick and I'll be back. Alright, now that I know that's good and dry, I'll show you my trick for getting the words on the paper. I do not like my own handwriting, so I try not to use it. I use fonts from the computer, print them, and make a backwards copy or mirror copy on the copy machine. And you actually need it from the copy machine, not a printer, because you need that powder, the powdered toner from the copy machine. And so we're going to tape it down where we want it. And then we're going to use a blender pen. This is Chart Pack. I got it, I believe, off of Amazon a couple of years ago. It is actually out of the blending. It's basically like an acetone. So I'm actually just using a acetone fingernail polish remover I got from Walmart. The pen ran out on me middle of a lyric one day and didn't know how I was going to get it finished. Thought about that being in my medicine cabinet. So it has turned out that it really works. And then as you go, you'll notice the paper getting wet, and you can see the words in between. Every so often, you want to raise it up and see that your words are actually transferring. And as you get a little more bulk into your journal, sometimes that transfer takes a little bit of a rougher push when you're putting it down, just because you start getting texture in there and it gets a little harder to get the whole transfer on there. Technically, you do want to do this in a well-ventilated area simply because you are using acetone. Don't really want to sit around getting high. Most people don't. Alright, once you do it and you are satisfied with what you've got, you can pull that off and just throw that away. Over time, this will fade because it is just toner powder. I do go over it with a black marker to make it bolder and to make it stay. This is what I'm using for since my pen's out of acetone. I've tried a lot of different pens. I have learned that for me, the ultra fine tip Sharpies just work better. Alright, so I'm going to start doing this, and I will actually speed it up and play a little music for you so that you're not having to sit here and watch me go over all these letters. So now I have all of my words covered. Just did it in Sharpie to make sure that they were dark, nice and dark, and would not come off my page. I'm going to use a couple of different stars on my page to give it some decoration. I have this one right here, which is from a set from Stampin' Up. And then I have a little one, I can't really see that, from a Recollection set. And then I have one from a set I got at Michael's that actually has Celebrate around the outside of it, which I thought was actually pretty fitting. So we're going to use those on the page for stars. And we're also going to use the music notes from the Bo Bunny It Is Written set, just to give us some around the edges. When I do this, I typically do not put my stamp on a block because I don't want it to be perfect. I'm using a black archival ink stamp pad to make sure that if I get the page wet, it will not mess up the stamping. There's no rhyme or reason here. Okay, now let's do my stars. And I actually think that I'm going to use some embossing powder. So I have a embossing ink pad here that will put the stamps on, and then I will put them in cover them with the powder and heat set it. This will give the stars a little shine as well as a little bit of a three-dimensional effect. And this is going to be the star that's on the Recollections word stamps. And I'm also not going to do any specific place. I'm just going to kind of do them randomly where they go. You know, the actual flag is not random, but okay. My powder, embossing powder, is just the Recollections brand from Walgreens. I do put it in a little Glad container so that I have something to spoon it into as I do it. There's my stars, which you'll see much better here in a minute as soon as I heat set them. Alright, there you go. Now you can see the stars a little bit better. Before I put the rest of the little stars on, I am going to go ahead and do my title so that I have the title there to work around. So to do my title, I'm using a couple of different things. First thing I'm going to use is the Have Faith set from Paper Smooches. I'm going to use the God and the Bless. I'm going to have to mask off the D. And then I'm going to try to use this Autumn Leaf Stampology set. They're quite large, so I'm going to have to see if I can make that work. But since I'm just doing USA, I think it'll probably be okay. I think what I'm going to do is I have two of the Staz On inks. I have the Blue Hawaiian and St. Valentine's Red. Just like the archival ink, they will stay on. They are waterproof. And I think I'm going to use maybe the blue to do part of it. Alright, so I'll do that up here. And I'm okay with the fact that it didn't come out perfect. I actually kind of like that fact. Now, when we do the Blessed, I do have to mask off part of it because I don't want the D at the end of it. So all I'm going to do there is use a little piece of Post-it tape. And cover that up so that it doesn't ink to the D. Pull that off. Except for I just realized I forgot to mask the E as well. Okay, we'll figure something out for that. Not going to worry about that. Okay. I have little letters that I'm going to do the underneath Bless in a minute, and I'm going to do down here, I'm going to do USA in the big stamp. Sorry about the meowing in the background. So here we're going to do them individually, and I am going to use the St. Valentine Staz On Ink to do USA at the bottom. I think because we don't have letters that have long ends to them, I think we're going to be good on space. Alright, there we have our majority of our title. And we're we're going to go ahead and use, I think we're going to do the in blue as well. It's going to be on the red, but I think it'll look okay. This is a stamp set I got at Michael's, just in there. I think they're actually $1.50, but little section they always have at the front of the store. Okay, and that'll finish up our title. Now I am going to use those same little stamps and do the artist name at the bottom. And probably do it in blue to make it stand out a little bit different from the red on the USA. Normally I have these things all pulled out and ready to go when I know I'm going to do it, but I haven't really had a plan with this, so. Alright. I do try to always put the artist on the page. I do have one or two that I have forgotten to do that and we'll have to fix. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some of the stars. And I think for the stars, other than these, I think I'm just going to go with black. I'm not going to do anything major here. So this is the star that has Celebrate in the middle. Or, sorry, it has a star in the middle and Celebrate going around it. And just like the music note part, there's no real rhyme or reason here. And then I also have the little star from the Stamping Up set. I don't pre-plan my pages typically. I did know on this one that I wanted to do the flag background, but that was as much as I had figured out. I think we're going to call that good. And again, I'm just doing that with the black archival ink. Alright, I'm going to shoot this with the heat gun, make sure everything's dry. And the next thing I'm going to do is just take one of the Jelly Roll white pens and give my letters some highlights. Little tip on this pen, if it starts to not work for you, scratch it on your hand for a second and it'll start rolling a little bit better. Also, don't put a lot of pressure on it. Okay, not going to do that E because I will have to figure it out. I do like to, even on these little letters, go in and give them some highlights. Just kind of make them pop up a little bit more. Red needs a little more line here. Alright. Now I'm going to do one more thing. The open stars, I'm actually going to add a little bit of yellow. Just to give it a little bit of spark. I'm going to use my Faber Castell Pitt big brush pen and just real lightly color those in. And then I'll go in and give them a little highlight as well, although it will be a little hard to see. And I'm liking the way it's looking. However, I want that USA to stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to just go around the edges of it with my Sharpie and just outline it. That'll make it stand out a little bit better. Alright. So I have two more things I'm going to do. I do always date my pages. When I go back and look, I'll know when I did them. And then the last thing I'm going to do is put some splatters on the page. And I'm just going to use regular white acrylic paint. I think this is from Joann's. And add a little water to it. Sorry, I didn't realize that was out of screen. And just flip my brush a little. Now, the only downside to this is you will notice that it does cover some of your letters. If it's a big portion of my letter that it covers, then I will go back over with the black marker after this dries, just to give it a little bit of cover over that white. I just think splatters finish the page very well. So, alright. Okay, that is all I have for you today. I will put a list of the supplies that I used in the description, and I will also put a link to the blender pen transfer video that I have previously done. I will show you a little more detail and some pictures here in just a second, and you'll notice that that E is not there any longer. I did figure out a way to cover it. And thank you for watching.